Live now. Hello everyone. How you doing? I don't know what to say. We were just doing a show a couple hours ago here, and everything was normal, and now the world is turned upside down. Within that, and of course, that's how things work this time of year. But here we are. We've got. I managed to grab Russ. Mike is on the phone. He's heading up to Puck Talk. You guys will have something to talk about tonight, Mike. Up to Puck Talk.
Oh no, nothing. Not a thing at all.
Hold on, you got echoes. 1 second, timeout. Okay, apologize. We're in a loopy hell.
Oh no,
1 second. Hang on. Stop it. We're in an endless loop. Hold on. I hate that. Here we go. Get rid of that. I think we're good after that. Okay, now we're good. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
I think that's the Beach Boys album.
Yes, right. It's little pet sounds for you guys. All right, so
wasn't that a movie? Was that a movie with Brooke Shields?
Right. So I put on this shirt for everyone to check out to see what's going on here. I'm thinking.
I wore a different shirt just so I'm not wearing the same shirt as this morning. I thought that would look weird.
All right. So where to start? Let's get into this. So about an hour ago, news broke that Taylor Hall had been traded for Adam Larson. I was following up on a different Edmonton rumor at the time, and I still think there's another Edmonton move to come. I don't think this is finished yet, but let's talk about that trade in and of itself for a second, because that trade is pretty crazy. I think that, Taylor Hall, of all the players, I would have maybe Yakupov for Larson I would have seen, but Taylor Hall for Larson, this points to something else. Like, this points to, like, did Taylor Hall not want to be in Edmonton anymore? Was there something secret going behind the scenes that we don't know about? You know what I mean, Russ? This feels like something else.
Yeah, you never know. I don't think he asked out, and it's odd because last year they resurrected Adam Larson in New Jersey. The year before there was a lot of negative talk about him, and I didn't understand it. I actually defended the kid.
Yeah,
I like the way he plays. He's just not going to have a high offensive upside no matter where he goes.
Right.
Maybe Edmonton's okay with that. Like, I just feel like Hall's worth more than that. I think we all feel that way, and so I don't know. There's always things beyond the obvious that we never find out about. So it could be something like that.
That's what this feels like to me. And it doesn't feel like it. This is Taylor Hall is such a good soldier that you would never know, but perhaps there was something else going here. He is such a positive individual. It's just kind of shocking. Dan, what are your thoughts on the Hall trade? First off, let's start there.
Well, it's a great trade from New Jersey. Boy, Ray Shero comes in, he's shaking the trees, and this is a coup for him. This is a great move. And look, I like, much like Russ, I really like Adam Larson too. But are you telling me that's the best you can do for a former first overall draft pick? That's the best you can do?
Yeah.
It's a move of desperation. It reeks of desperation. And I can't believe that there weren't better offers out there. Now, we know there were other offers out there. We're trying to get the details of what they were. But there has to be better offers out there than that.
Yeah. I would think so. I don't get it. I don't. And then again, it's nothing against Taylor Hall. I've always been a fan of his too. And I've also been, was kind of curious to me how New Jersey really didn't give him a chance his first year there, first little bit there. But so Mike, what are your thoughts on Hall and Hall for Larson?
Well, from the reports that have been coming out, it wasn't the case of Hall wanting out of Edmonton, but Edmonton wanting out of Hall. We've heard all this stuff about them wanting to shake up the core group of that team. The guy of that core group that I wouldn't want to trade is Hall. He's a top 10 scorer. He's produced. Yeah. He's had some injury problems, but he's been a very quality forward since he was drafted. And now from that 2010 draft, both Tyler Seguin and Taylor Hall have been traded.
Isn't that crazy? That wasn't that long ago. I know, that wasn't that long ago. It's nuts. I remember interviewing both of those guys during the Flyers Chicago final. Remember, they were in Philadelphia there. We talked to both Taylor and Tyler, and now here they are both moving on to different teams.
The thing is
that's true. That's a really interesting point. Hold on 1 second. Dan brought up a really interesting point there, that Taylor Hall and Tyler Seguin were traded by the same person.
True.
Isn't that weird?
But let Mike finish though, just because it's going to be hard.
It's unbelievable.
She really has now traded both of the top 2 picks in that draft. And holy cow.
good catch, Dan. But no, what I'm saying is, we were talking about them taking Pugliarvi in the draft instead of taking a potential number one defenseman, either Ulevi or Sergachev in the draft, and that the only thing that would explain that is if they were going to make a trade for another defenseman. Well, the thing is, I question whether Adam Larson is a top pairing defenseman. Again, you go down the road here where you have cost certainty with Larson. I think he's making $4.16 million, but there's questions about how good is he. Maybe he's a 20 to 25 minute a night guy, but he's not going to score enough points to be a guy who you want on your top pairing. So again, you've got Edmonton getting a guy who's not a perfect fit as a top pairing, and they trade a number one overall pick who's one of their better forwards. I don't get it.
I am really baffled by this. All right, so we were all sort of like just digesting that, thinking there had to be more. Like everybody was thinking, I kept thinking there's another piece to this deal, right? This isn't just a 1-for-1 deal. This can't be a 1-for-1 deal. Right. Like a first-round draft pick next year. Something else is going the other way. That's what I thought. I thought it would be a first-rounder. But it's nothing. And as that's breaking through, then news comes that just totally turns the hockey world on its end. And PK Subban has been traded for Shea Weber. All right, so this... Man, this is a really crazy trade that I don't think makes sense for either team. And I'm saying here, are both teams just trying to do something different here? Is this just a matter of wanting to make a trade for the trade's sake? As much as I love both of these players. I mean, I'm a huge fan of each of these players, but I think that there's no benefit. I'm so confused by this one. Russ, why don't you start with this one?
Well, I mean, I think Nashville paid all this upfront money to Shea Weber. I think somebody said $56 million is right around that money, right around that point. And I guess they paid that. He didn't win him a cup, and he's 30 years old. So to me, knowing that there was rumblings that PK Subban could leave Montreal, and the fact that maybe Michel Therrien is the one that can't seem to utilize him in his lineup, because we saw that happening last year where he was having trouble working him in the lineup. They gained a great player, one of the best defensemen in the league, and some, youth. They actually turned. So basically at 27, he might last another 3 to 5 years longer than Shea Weber. And technically they're going to pay less for him. Now to make this trade though, it's funny because Nashville, to me, invested a lot of money to make this deal.
They did. They really did. They really did. I mean, and Shea Weber just won the leadership award, last week, at the NHL awards. I mean, I know he loves it in Nashville. I mean, I'm sure he'll love it in Montreal. It's a great place to play hockey, but PK apparently not too happy about this trade from all I've heard so far. Not surprisingly so. I mean, I don't know.
Weber's a goal scorer, and I guess at the end of the day, now Montreal can count on more goals because he'll score a lot more goals than Subban will.
He's a very different kind of player than PK Subban. Yeah, he's a goal scorer. He's probably better defensively as well. But like you say, PK's younger and PK's faster, and we're going to a faster league. PK's speed is definitely an issue here, I think, in my opinion. Dan, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think Bergevin saw what Chiarelli had done. He's like, you can blow up your franchise. So, look, I really don't get this move for Montreal. I don't understand why they couldn't make PK Subban work there. I don't believe all the stuff that we were starting to hear leak out.
No.
The bad locker room guy and things like that. He's like donating millions of his own money to build a children's hospital. It's like no one can doubt what Subban does to a community and off the ice. And I just don't get it. Now, Shea Weber's a great player. He'll be fine there in Montreal. I think this is a really good deal for Nashville. They get a little bit younger. I like the speed aspect. They get a little bit faster. Now you've got Subban and Roman Josi for years to come. I think that's a really good move for the Predators.
Yeah, and Subban will be a great in the community there for sure. What do you got there?
Predators Instagram account.
He's going to be a superstar in Nashville.
What do you have there? What Russ is showing something. What is that, Russ?
That's the Predators Instagram account. Obviously, Subban took a picture with Nashville fans at the All-Star game. So
yeah, well, I was at the All-Star game, and I'm telling you, he was Nashville fans loved him at the All-Star game. He's very, at the All-Star game, he is one of the more entertaining players to be around. Even when he's on the ice, he's just having fun. He's having a blast. He loved it in Nashville. He was on the airplane that flew back with me to Philly. Because the next game for the Canadians was in Philadelphia after the All-Star game. So we were on a tiny plane together. He said nothing but nice things about the Predators experience, the experience in Nashville for sure. But he is such so invested in the community down there in Montreal. I mean, PK goes to a contender, like right away. He goes to a contending team. Montreal is still a little bit ways from that. Mike?
Well, okay. I mean, first I have to give David Poile credit because he won a deal. I think PK down the road. I mean, right now I think he's 27 years old, and Weber is 30 or 31.
30, yeah.
Yeah. So the salaries PK's making, I think, $1.2 million more. You're basically paying a little more for a younger player who's going to contribute. Weber helps the Canadians in the short term. You got to remember, Carey Price has 2 years left in his contract. I think Montreal is sort of a win-now team, even though everything happened last year. They completely fell apart, but Weber fits for that role. I just think that the signals out of Montreal was that the management of that team was done with PK Subban, and there's no reason to trade him based on ice, other than the fact that team without Carey Price and with PK Subban in the lineup did nothing. And that's the problem. They did nothing with him in the lineup. So they figured, okay, well, we can move him. He's very popular in the fan base. He's giving money away to hospitals, but he's not helping the team. So why?
I don't know. I mean, it's that's I don't agree with that because, I mean, yeah, you're right. He can't. I mean, PK Subban from the defensive side of things cannot take the Canadians on his shoulders completely and make that team a good team. I mean, that team had way more issues.
Without Carey Price, would Shea Weber have mattered? Would they have still been a playoff?
No, it'd be the same situation completely.
Right. It's not on Subban.
It's really not. It really isn't.
I'm not saying it's on him. What I'm saying is that you see the structure of that team, and you saw what Subban was and what he did for that team without Carey Price backing him up. And I think that undercut his value from the point of management to the point that there's all this ancillary stuff that may be true and may not be true. But if it is true that he didn't get along with his teammates or he didn't get along with the coach, that just adds more to the case of making a trade for him. And apparently that added up enough. I
want to say one thing, though.
Yep.
I was in the locker room at least 3 or 4 times this year for different times for Montreal, multiple times at the Winter Classic.
Yep.
I never saw an issue with Subban and his teammates. They all seem to love him.
There is no issue with Subban.
I think this is the coach not being able to utilize him. And when we asked him how come he didn't have enough goals this year, I think that was the start of this, that we just didn't realize how big this was going to get. But
I talked to a player in that locker room about this question last week when we were going through all this stuff. And what he said to me was basically, he said, listen, there is a small faction that doesn't like PK Subban, a small faction of players in that locker room that do not like PK Subban. He's like, that is true. And he said, that's 100% accurate that there is a small faction, but it's not the major players. It's not the core group. It's just a small faction that doesn't like PK Subban. And I think, but among that faction, I believe is Michel Therrien. So what they have done here is, Montreal has picked Therrien over PK Subban. That's clear as can be, in my opinion. Because those two, those two were definitely, all the issues that Subban had, a lot of them tie back to Therrien, and what he did over time. I mean, remember, they did not recommend Subban for the Olympic team in 2014. That was a big deal to PK. He was not, he didn't get an endorsement from his own team to go, and that mattered to him a lot, and he went on and won the Norris Trophy for that. He was he was really focused on that whole concept, right? So,
Nashville's having a 5:30 press conference, by the way.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll definitely get on that one. Yeah. So I'm going to let that call go to call waiting because it's not as important as Mr. Dan Petru, who's on the line now. You got it. All right. So finally, before we move on to other things, just as that's happening.
One other thing to sort of note.
Yeah.
Not often that a team trades their best franchise player and the fans are not going to be upset about it.
Well,
Think
this is
about that
true.
for a
This
minute.
is true. Like we talked about, like who could you trade Subban for? You could trade him for Malkin, maybe, and here's another guy you could trade him for, which is Shea Weber. And they're going to be.
More of Nashville, because like we know Carey Price, the best player in Montreal, but Nashville traded their number one guy, their franchise guy, and no one's going to be mad about it.
I don't know about no one, but you're right. I mean, the Shea Weber has a ton of fans down there, but they're at least going to look at this like, okay, yeah, maybe this works. You know, this also does. I do have to think about Laviolette playing a factor in this as well. Laviolette, I know Laviolette was always a PK Subban guy. The Flyers tried to get PK Subban when Laviolette was here. So Laviolette's game is more of that, you know, get up and go game as we've heard from before, you know, and this is Subban's game. So where Shea Weber is a little bit more conservative, perhaps not a ton. I mean, you know, it's not like Shea Weber was hanging back. So I don't know. And, you know, the other thing is, Weber and Yossi is such a great combination. You know, PK now will actually, for the first time in his career, be paired with a really good defenseman. I mean, PK has been, you know, paired with good, decent defensemen in Montreal, but never really anybody.
Yeah, Markov was good, like when he was good. So
but it has been a couple years there. Roman Yossi, I think, is better than Markov ever was, though. So
yes,
I mean, I think that's safe to say. So finally, as that's happening, and I'm trying, and everybody's like, you know, the first thing, I don't know if what you guys thought about. The first thing I thought about when someone sent to me this, I thought they must have been reading at least the Subban one and the other one too, the Larson Hall one too. Is I thought someone's reading a fake Twitter account. That's the first thing that came to my head immediately.
I thought that too, Ed. I thought that too.
The first thing you think of, right? Because this has to be a fake Twitter account. Somebody's going nuts because these are the kind of things you see posted on fake Twitter accounts. Finally, after as that's all happening, Mr. Steven Stamkos signs back with Tampa, which is, you know, what I was kind of thinking he was going to do all along, as I've said many times. He signs for the $8.5 million for eight years, obviously showing that he just simply wanted to stay in Tampa. This is you know, this is why Tampa was never really panicked about this. I never really got the sense that I think they were nervous about it, but they never panicked. Go ahead, Dan.
Sorry, someone just cut me off in traffic. I was yelling at him.
Oh, sorry. No problem. Drive safely there.
Let's let Mike go first on this.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I mean, I said all along that it was going to be Tampa or Toronto, and about actually around 2:30, Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun posted that the Leafs had gone full out. Did the whole thing with Stamkos either Monday or Tuesday. You know, it was Shanahan, it was the mayor of Toronto, the CEO of Canadian Tire, which I think we mentioned on a previous webcast. You know, part of the plan with Stamkos was, you know, getting an ad, you know, the advertising.
That's interesting, because I don't think that's really liked. I don't think the NHL likes that kind of stuff to get out like that. Anyway, continue.
That's not circumventing the cap. I mean, right now, like if a guy in Tampa, you know, get advertising for Joe's Crab Shop. I mean, you know, I'm saying that's.
Hey, don't knock Joe's Crabs, okay? They're really good.
But you know what I'm saying? That's one of the advantages that Toronto has.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Tampa has is state income tax, and the advantage that Toronto has is multi-million-dollars in advertising. So, one team is a Stanley Cup finalist / conference finalist, and one team's in rebuild mode. You know, so I think that also plays into it with Stamkos a lot. I mean, I really think that I think the biggest thing, if this was the Chicago Blackhawks, Stamkos would have to think about it a lot more. I think that. I mean, the fact is he could have gone home and he didn't go home to Toronto. It is a blow to Toronto, but I will go on record right now, and I was preparing to say this the entire time, that this is the best thing that could have happened to the Maple Leafs. I think you know, you talk so much about their plan, and I think that the fact that they were making an exception for Stamkos was a real problem. If they had gone $10-11 million a year for him, for a guy who, remember, you know, picked up one vote last year in the MVP voting for the NHL. He's a good player, but is he an $11 million player? He's not Jonathan Toews to me. He's not Patrick Kane. He's not. He's coming off of, like, you know, blood clots, and who knows? I mean, I love the guy. He's a great guy.
I'm not worried about the blood clots. I'm not.
Maybe not, but you have to think about it a little bit in this situation. And I think at the end of the day, he's not. You can do so much better by going in other directions if you're Toronto, and you're on such a good course right now. Stamkos accelerates that in a way that you don't necessarily want to. I still believe that. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Baloney. I don't buy that.
Right.
Stamkos would have been the right play, would have been the right player at the right time. You need now the focal point of this team will be Austin Matthews, and that, you know, in Toronto, where the media is 24/7, 365, is something to be scared of. I mean, I think that he would have been the right addition, but the thing is, you know, now he signs back in Tampa. Now Steve Yzerman has to go to work because he's got all these restricted free agents. He's probably going to have to trade Ben Bishop. He's probably going to have to move another player to be able to sign Victor Hedman. I mean, it's going to be a big task for Yzerman to keep that team in a reasonable competitive mode. But I think that Toronto missed out on Stamkos, not getting him, and I think now, as I said on the webcast at 1 o'clock, they're going to maintain the patient approach and probably not dip into free agency very big on July 1.
I'll say this: I don't think they lost out that much. Not Toronto. Tampa's not going to have that hard of a time. I don't think Tampa's. They're gonna have to move Bishop, but we kind of felt like they were probably heading that way anyhow.
Definitely.
Filippola is probably the other guy that gets moved.
Yeah.
Kucherov will get his bridge deal, Mike. I know you never wanted to hear me say that, but he's going to get a bridge deal until they figure all this out, and then they'll sign him. So I think that is going to happen. I was at least getting that part right. We all were guessing, but the thing is, I did say on XM on Saturday, I thought marketing was behind this too, because I just didn't see, for all the marketing that Stamkos does bring to Tampa, jerseys and otherwise, who could possibly replace him in that department? So it's good to see that they retained him. They gave him a good offer. 8.5 for Tampa is like 9.5 for anybody else. So we don't know if the Leafs gave 9.5 or not. We'll have to wait and see.
Plus, it's 8 years, so the 8-year thing is the other issue.
They couldn't do that.
And no one else could do that. There is no question out there, I still wouldn't be surprised if this is, we think this is not a sign and trade, right? We have that's been definitely discussed, that it's not a sign and trade. That came up immediately when I saw it. I'm like thinking, well, maybe this is a sign and trade. I haven't heard. I've been so busy. I haven't been on Twitter or whatever. That are people saying that did they make the announcement that they're thrilled to have Stamkos back, kind of thing?
Yeah, no. Stamkos just tweeted a few minutes ago that he's glad to be back in Tampa, so it's not a sign and trade.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So that was Dan. What are your thoughts on Stamkos?
I think it's a great deal. I really do. I think this is the player wanting to stay where he's comfortable. It's the player that's his home. That's the team that drafted him. Plus, it's the best team available. Of all the teams that he could go to that could afford him, this is the best hockey team. And I know he's only 26, but if he has to wait around going somewhere for a year or two, I don't think he's going to want to do that. I think this is a really good move for the player, and it's a great job by Steve Yzerman.
I agree. I think Yzerman handled it really well. Now, this is going to make.
One other thing with this. I still feel like this number has been out there the whole time, and Yzerman just probably said, see if you can get more. Do you think that's what happened? I think that's what happened.
I don't know, because I think if he did see if he could get more, he knew he could get more. I think he could get more. I think there's no question that he could have gotten more. So that's what's weird about it. To me, maybe it says, maybe there was a number in his head. He's like, well, it's got to be 12 million for all the taxes and the extra year. Right. Maybe there's a number that he said, okay, it's got to be that. Maybe he figured that out. Maybe he just wanted to, for the NHLPA to go through the exercise too. I mean, that's possible as well, that he said, I owe it to the NHLPA and to future free agents to at least not sign right away and see other teams and all that and try to test it. I'm really surprised that it didn't go up. I thought it would. I kind of envisioned them going to like 9.1 or something like that. Like doing like the Crosby thing and using the 91 or something, like, because really the extra 600,000 a year. I'm surprised that they really stuck on their 8.5, and he folded into it. He basically said, okay, that's fine. Now it's not bad to fold into $8.5 million for 8 years, so it's not like a terrible thing. But I'm just saying he did definitely. I think it's safe to say he took a hometown discount to stay in Tampa. I really think he could say that. I do think that he would have gotten 11.
Hometown discount when it's 8 years, 8.5.
I know, but I think he could have gotten 11 or 12 in Buffalo for 7 years.
See, that's the funny thing. We don't know that. For all we know, the reason that maybe Canadian Tire was in on this meeting is because the Leafs had a number, and then they went, well, with Canadian Tire, it goes over that number.
Yeah, if the Leafs had a number, then I'm going to give him credit, because I think the Leafs had to put a number. I think the numbers were getting crazy for this player, and I as much as I love Steven Stamkos, he is not Connor McDavid. He's not this. He's not the next Sidney Crosby. You know, he's Steven Stamkos.
Let's just say this, and we may never know what was offered or what was, hinted at, but if it ever comes out that the Maple Leafs lowballed Steven Stamkos and offered him, $8 million, and I'd like to be lowballed and get $8 million, but if it's ever found out that they lowballed him and gave him $8 million and they brought in Canadian Tire to say we'll give you an extra couple,
right?
They will be looking for polls to hang Lou Lamoriello and Brendan Shanahan from.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it'll never come out first off because that's a really good group.
And I honestly think that they did pony up the money, and it was more the fact that Stamkos wanted to go back to Tampa, wanted to try to win a Stanley Cup for the next 2 or 3 years while they had that window. And then you never know. In 2 or 3 years, he's got complete control of where he wants to go. He's got a no-move clause. He can very easily walk into Steve Yzerman's office and say, I want to go here or I want to go there.
True.
All right, so let's look at these teams real quick before we get out of here. Then we'll be back again tomorrow, guys, because there are still players to be signed. And honestly, a couple people said, well, this totally takes your wind out of the sail for June 1st, right? And I said, you know what? Honestly, this actually helps us a lot because Stamkos out of the way. I mean, the trades are the trades. They're going to happen one way or the other. But with Stamkos out of the way, now you end up in a we're going to see a lot more player movement, I think, on June 1st. We're going to see a lot more stuff happening. Teams now have time. Yeah, we'll see. And I think teams will have to react via trade as well. Let's go through these teams. Did New Jersey get better? Yes, right? The Devils got better. We all agree today. I mean, what a deal for the Devils. I mean, what an unbelievable deal for the Devils. I mean, this is a team that, needed this so badly. They needed a Taylor Hall type player, and to be able to get him, that's just insane. Edmonton, I don't think gets better here. Or do we want to argue this one at all?
Well, I mean, they get better if they're going to sign Lucic, then they got better because they improved their defense. I'll say that.
Right. And we don't know what else Edmonton's doing. I think we have to give them. We still have to wait and see on that one.
Right.
They did clear up some money. They did clear up a lot of money with Hall. Larson is not expensive, right?
And that's the speculation act because Larson, that if they make this trade, Larson will take the place of if they don't go after Jason Demers. They have Larson and then they use their money in free agency to sign Lucic. But I don't think Edmonton got better. I think Hall is one of the guys you should have kept. They didn't, and instead I think they get a defenseman who's a second pairing guy and will be miscast in a top pairing role. We'll say this. I do like the fact that Hall's that he's on another team. I think we're going to finally see what Taylor Hall's all about. We'll get a chance to have his own, and that will be Taylor Hall and the New Jersey Devils. That's what that team's going to be. It's not going to be, that's going to be the team. When you talk about the Devils, you're going to be like Hall and the Devils are in town, and that's good because I was always upset about all these first round draft picks going to Edmonton and the talent not being dispersed a little bit more. So this is a little bit of dispersion. Let's talk about, did the Canadians get better with Shea Weber?
Well, they get a guy who could score more goals. So I think they got better in the sense that now they have a booming shot at the power play that there's no way Michel Therrien can complain about Shea Weber's shot on the power play, and they'll get more goals as a result. So if they wanted more goals, they're getting more goals.
Dan?
I don't think the Canadians got any better. I don't think they're getting worse. I think they still are what they are, and it's a team that needs more talent up front, so they trade their franchise player for a lateral move almost,
Yeah.
They will score some more goals, I'll say that. But there's nothing wrong with PK Subban's shot. There really isn't. I think Nashville, same thing, maybe more, but I think they changed the dynamic of their team. They got a little younger, they got a little quicker, they got a little faster, and I really like what Subban's gonna bring to the table in Nashville. I also think he's gonna be really pissed off and motivated too. Not that he's not ever unmotivated. I think he's gonna want to prove something to the whole league. So
yeah.
And also, if Garth Snow is listening, if he wants to maybe do something, that would be great because Taylor Hall really could have helped John Tavares, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. I mean, we'll find out what other places Hall could have been traded to. I'm trying to dig into that now. We'll be digging into that tonight and all through the evening because and right into tomorrow and then back on Friday again early on. So we've got a lot of work to do, fellas.
Yes, we sure do.
We do. Mike?
I don't think Montreal got better. I think they remain status quo. And I think they basically alienated their fan base to the point that if Michel Therrien loses, 6 or 7 games in a row, they're going to try to kill him like they did Clarence Campbell back in the 50s.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, that's a little insane. Come on now. That's a good, I mean, it's very comedic. We'll give you points for comedy on that. We'll call that tongue in cheek.
Yes, of course I am.
I know. So how about Tampa? Now, Tampa, do they legitimize themselves now as a serious contender? I would say they do, right? I mean, they
stay right where they are, and now it's just a matter of roster juggling. Like, this is where they're going to have to see what they can get for Ben Bishop, or if they're going to ride out Ben Bishop, then they're going to have to move somebody else for this year and then leave Bishop, just let him go UFA. They still could do that too.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to be able to move. I know Dallas is interested in Bishop, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Dallas, they would have to take back a goalie in that move. There's a bunch of things that have to happen there. So anyway, guys, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for listening to the Hockey Buzzcast Special Edition, live crazy trade deadline Special Edition, live crazy trade Special Edition. I mean, and we'll be back again tomorrow at 1:00. And who knows? Maybe tonight when Crosby's traded for Ovechkin, we'll be back. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. We'll talk to you soon.